the whole training philosophy that I have really came out of, well, here's the deal. We didn't even have an option back in the day when I was training university golfers. We didn't even have an option of adding heavy weights or resistance. We were basically shunned to the basketball court. We were given a basketball court to train out of. We weren't even allowed in the varsity training room. So, you know, that's where it comes from. It's like I trained a team for 5 years in a basketball court, a dusty basketball court. But I had to be resourceful with their bodies and try and get them to be explosive, speedy, you know, explosive athletes with a lot of power, but also finesse, be great athletes. So that's where it came from. Now, years later, we were allowed to go into the weight room, and that just so it added to it. We were able to use resistance. But we won national championships, we won NAIAs without any resistance. We weren't even allowed in the gym. So when you add resistance and the ability to use that, that's great. But the fundamental movements that we use to generate speed and power came from the athlete's own body, and that's the key. So now we extrapolate that out, and we go to, you know, our BC provincial team, and then the Canadian national team, being in the back of a driving range with no equipment. We didn't have squat racks and, you know, barbells and stuff like that, and Olympic lifting boxes. We couldn't do any of that stuff because we didn't have it. My gym was basically the back of a driving range. So you put us in the back of a driving range, and we have medicine balls, we have some sandbags that we filled with water, and we had some resistance bands that we tied at golf carts. And I'm supposed to train the world's best, future world's best athletes. And we did. We ended up having like Brooke Henderson come from that program. Mackenzie Hughes winning on the PGA Tour. Corey Connors winning on the PGA Tour. I mean, the list of great players that came from that program is endless. But it came from a minimalistic type of approach to training. It wasn't about bench press, deadlifts, and squats. It was about moving better, moving faster, and having better movement patterns. So, I mean, that's really where it came from. So you put all that together, and then now you add programming, like where you can actually, you know, utilize the equipment that you have available to you. It just adds to it. But the fundamentals behind it are all based on an athlete moving better and making their nervous system, their neuromuscular system, work better as a unit. And I feel like if you do that, you are going to get head and heels above those who are just relying on pure strength. And that's just the way I feel. I know that pisses off a lot of strength coaches, and it pisses off a lot of people that invest a lot of time into sets and reps. But the results are there. And now my PGA Tour players that I work with, they do the same fundamentals, the same system that we used to do way back in that basketball court. It's crazy to think that 25 years later, you know, we're still doing some of the same movements that we did in that basketball court. And now I have the opportunity to work with some of the best players in the world, and I'm very honored to do that. But it's just constantly refining the system, constantly building upon the successes that we had in the past, take away the elements that don't work, add in new elements based on the demands that the athlete puts on us. The better the athlete, the more I have to adapt, because we have to make that one little change, that one little, that centimeter change, or that 1% change that we're looking for to go from, you know, 100th in the world to 30th in the world, or, you know, coming in 30th place to first. It's that little bit of difference that I got to find, and I got to tweak it out.